Welcome to the Business Chaser, your quick pour of strategy, clarity, and momentum. We skip the small talk and get straight to the strategy here in these bite-sized episodes. We're here to help you grow smarter, market better, and chase what matters, all in 15 minutes or less. I'm your host, Lauren Najar. Tune in and let's chat. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Chaser. I'm Lauren Najar, and I will try to have more solo episodes coming in the months. So I hope that you're finding all of these episodes with our guests on their topic of expertise very beneficial, regardless of if you're in the industry or not. But I also hope that you don't mind that I just pop in and we don't hear from our guests sometimes. So this one was an interesting one, and I'm so excited to talk about this topic because I'm recording this as we're rounding out 2025, going into 2026. And if you asked me a year ago if I would be actually consulting on events and helping people build events, I don't have an official offer or a service for this yet. However, because of all of the events and retreats I've had and how successful they have been, I am getting a lot of inquiries now about how I do this. I asked my Instagram stories as well. I'm recording this solo episode. It's going to air sometime in December. What do you want to hear from me? And someone submitted this, like, what are the steps from point A to point B of creating an event, an execution of an event? And so rather than, I'm not going to say like, okay, like make sure you have this, this, and this. Like those things are all important, but I want you to know, and I kind of want to give you an inside peek on truly the things that I think of and the pressure I put on myself. And really that also is what goes into an event for it to be successful as well, because you can execute wonderfully, right? Anyone can call up a restaurant, book a room, have a server just serve you food. You can have really delicious food, just all the things, right? Like you can do all of those things, but it's so much deeper than that. Anyone can have and host people at your house. Anyone can host people, whatever. It can be very simple to host a party. And maybe you're like, no, Lauren, like absolutely not. It's not simple. It's not easy to do that. I will say for me, I love hosting. I'm getting ready to host Thanksgiving. Granted, we don't have a lot of people that come. It's just our family and our in-laws. And then I have probably the biggest thing I host every year as of now is my daughter's birthday parties. We have about 40 people that come. Again, it's very easy to do that. I love doing that. I have hosted bachelorette parties. I have planned my own bachelorette party to an extent, I guess. I planned my own wedding. So I planned one of my girlfriend's weddings, her reception dinner and her bachelorette party when she was getting married in Vegas, and I hadn't ever been to Vegas. So I love, like, I tell this to everyone, if I could be Jennifer Lopez in the wedding planner, that would have been a dream job of mine. I love hosting, like if I could have dinner parties all the time. Yeah, okay, enough about me. So I wanted to actually kind of set the scene of why I even wanted to host dinners, essentially. I might have alluded to this in previous episodes, but truly, I feel that I don't think that there are things, especially here locally, or things that I have been to that I feel worth, I don't know how to say this, like that's honestly worth my time, and that I leave with it feeling fulfilled in the dinner sense. So yes, I've been to workshops that have been worth my time. Yes, I've been to other events, but having an intimate dinner with other business owners, and not it just being a night out, but letting it be something for your business in the sense also of, I don't have a slideshow and I'm not going to bore you with a speech and like a workshop. I want it to be where you are connecting genuinely with other business owners, and it's not performative, where you don't have to put your best foot forward, where we can talk about our struggles, where we can be emotional, where we can open up, and people are there to support you. And that was my vision since day one. And then going into 2026, we're going to be doing that so much more. But I have a thing here where if you want to host an event, you have to answer the question of what do you want people to get out of this? And I think now that we're seeing events all popping up everywhere, we are losing that. And I could not be so, I guess, stubborn in a way to where I will not host events for self-serving purposes, I guess. I guess there is a little bit of that, right? Like, I want to impact people. I want to help people. But for me, in order for me to impact people, I want to provide something different and unique. And, the idea to impact people is not just me giving you strategy and workshops. It's, I really want to impact you in a way where you are thinking and expanding in a bigger way than you ever thought possible. So I put a lot of that pressure on myself. And so we're not even talking about logistics, right? The logistics are the easiest thing, you guys. Like for me personally, like I can email and get a deal done in a day and book a room or get the menu done. And I don't worry about it until maybe checking in a couple days earlier. And hopefully everything goes according to plan. But I'm usually in the I put more pressure on myself, what I'm going to say, how I'm going to make people feel, how I want them to feel. And I want them to feel like something they've never, even if it's just like a dinner or the retreat, I want them to feel like they've never been to XYZ before. And I want every single person individualized to be seen in rooms where usually if they go to something, regardless of whatever the event is, that they're not seen, right? I want every single person who steps into my space to be seen, felt, and like supported. So there's logistics, right? So I'll go through the logistics too, just to keep this of course, really quick, educational. I have a list here I wrote down. So obviously securing the venue. That's the first thing that I do is I look for venues that are going to be my vibe that I want to portray. So this year I really focused on restaurants that were a little bit higher end where I could rent a room and have a private room. I wanted it to be secluded and private and exclusive. I feel like each restaurant definitely hit that mark. I don't have to worry about loudness and talking and music. We have our own private rooms. Choosing the menu and balancing the budget. So it would be easy to just be order anything. But I look for restaurants that fit the budget of the tickets that I want to price, right? I know I can sell tickets for whatever price that meets whatever I feel, but I do have a little bit of a realistic touch point, right? I know that we're here in Northwest Indiana. I'm not having a dinner in Chicago, New York, no Los Angeles. I'm having a dinner in Northwest Indiana. Granted, while these places are still a little bit on the higher end, I want to be realistic on how much I'm actually going to charge for just a 2-hour dinner. Hopefully, they're going to get something out of it. And I have my sweet spot that I have found because I've charged a little bit less. I charged higher up for the second dinner. It was a little bit more expensive. And then the third dinner, I was kind of middle of the road. Coordinating, just the coordination of everything. I've worked with some really good people at these restaurants too. I would say the first one was so easy to work with. The third one was really easy to work with. I had a lot of back and forth with them, but because I actually inquired to work with them in August for the August dinner, and then I decided to go somewhere else. But then I came back for the final dinner and thought that was really good. The guest list. So I did things a little differently as well with this. But the first one, I really focused on curation. And I wanted my first dinner to really be specific with who I was having in the room because I knew I wanted people to open up about their business struggles. And I don't want people talking outside of the dinner, right? Of course, people might talk and gossip or whatever, but the people, I know every single person who comes pretty much. I know them at different levels, but now seeing people come to these dinners, I still have new people that come every single time, but we have a relationship already. And that's what I want to continue to build on. As far as linens and tables, things like that, I don't really worry about that stuff. I don't really plan on decorating or having anything decoration wise. That's just, I want it to be minimalist. I want it to be minimalist. I want it to be candles on the table, white tablecloth usually at restaurants, like dimly lit, like cocktail vibe. Like that's kind of like what I always look for. But I have a theme for the night. And so this is where I truly focus my energy on. And that is, how can I specifically make sure that we're living up to the theme? And so I think of whatever time of year it is. I think of whatever theme I want it to be. And then I execute from there. So what are the types of things that I can do to focus really in on that theme? So the first thing that I want to say is, I'll just give an example. I'll give whatever the 3 themes were this year. So my first dinner was in February. It was just called Growth and Connect, but I had everyone share a win and a struggle that they were facing in their business. This was our first dinner. This is kind of like the table setting of all of the other dinners. August was coming back from summer, igniting for the rest of the year. What were we realigning ourselves with, and what were we igniting for the rest of the year? The third dinner was Harvest of Intentions, a lot of reflection and a lot of like, okay, what am I taking into 2026? So each of those themes were unique, and I wanted to make sure and focus down to the gifts, down to the prompts, down to maybe some of the food that we had is all focused on the theme itself. So an example is, for Harvest of Intentions, what we did at the dinner is, rather than having everyone share and open up, everyone wrote a letter to themselves 6 months into the future. So that was something that they were hoping to take into the new year with them, hoping that they're crushing their goals 6 months into the future. And then I had like affirmation books, pens, tea, and a candle. Those were the gifts, and those were individually selected for each person. All 4 things were individually selected for each person based on my relationship and or what I know about their business. Without going into too much detail, like I just don't really talk about that, but like I feel that as much as personalization as I can do at any of these events, that's what's going to be most impactful, because again, the logistics are noise a lot of times, but the logistics need to fit the vision of what I want to accomplish. And what I want to accomplish is people thinking bigger, people not thinking alone, people thinking outside of their comfort zone, people thinking of like all of the good things that happened this year or the bad things and the lessons learned, things like that. So those are the things, like if you're planning an event in 2026 or beyond, I have 3 retreats that I'm going to be actively preparing for come January, especially our May retreat. And each one has a specific theme as well. And so I really need to focus on, what do I want to accomplish? But I also take into consideration the guest list every single time. Who is coming? What kinds of businesses, people, ages, backgrounds, all of that goes into my planning. So I'm not going to have us go to a nightclub, right? Because that's just like not the vibe. I think of what I want every day to look for, feel for. What do I want them to accomplish? How do I want people to feel? And then I start from that point, and then all of the other parts and pieces make sense. So rather than me telling you, oh yeah, like call this person, these vendors, this thing, this is what goes into me creating events. It is more important for me to start with the fact of like, what is the goal this event will accomplish? And what do I want people to feel? Then I start to craft everything else. So watch out for 2026. If you are interested in coming to one of my retreats next year, we have, May 2026 in Chicago is sold out. July 2026, we actually only have 2 spots left. Yeah, I think we have 5 people. So there's 2 spots left. And we are going to Napa in October of 2026. We have 3 spots left for that. So if you're interested, the links are in the show notes to come to one of the retreats. And if you have any questions about events, things like that, or you want me to consult with you, that is something I do on the side, I guess, or kind of behind the scenes. I'm very passionate about crafting and creating events. I am going to be helping some of my clients create their own in-person events in 2026, which I'm super excited for. It's just something that naturally comes easy for me. So if you think about having an event, I think that you 100 million% need to do that. So we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers. That's your quick hit of clarity and momentum for the week. If it sparks something, share it with a friend or tag us in your stories at Business Over Cocktails and or at Lauren Najar. We love seeing what resonates. Don't forget, Mondays are for full-length episodes with rich conversations, and Fridays are the Business Chaser episodes. These are bite-sized insights pulled from our guests to keep you inspired and aligned throughout the week. Do you have a question or a takeaway? DM us at Business Over Cocktails. We just might feature it in a future episode. Cheers!